All right. All right. All right. All right. Well, good afternoon. Good
Good
evening,
afternoon.
everyone. I guess it's evening
It
from where
is
I,
here.
yeah.
701.
Yeah. Well, welcome, welcome. And we're actually going to be streaming here on YouTube and
Wow.
Twitter and Facebook all at the same time.
We're going big tonight, man.
Well, we're just actually testing out some things here, and I guess you can call this part two of a two-part series.
Yeah,
Okay.
We
yeah.
had a little short interview this earlier today, but that was not really planned. But we was trying to get some things in order. So, but welcome everyone, and my name is Oliver Blue. My wife is sitting in this black chair. Her name is Anya Blue, and she'll be joining us short in a few minutes. But anyway, welcome tonight to our uh, show, and where we're going to be interviewing some great friends. Um, some of you who've been on my timeline, you're very familiar probably with the faces here,
Uh-oh.
and because they have a live show on Tuesday and Sundays, and I always share their show on my timeline. So if you're friends with me, you're probably familiar with the faces, but I like to introduce this lovely couple, uh, and their name and their names is Clifton and Antionette Sawyer. And welcome, thank you guys for joining us tonight. It's so great, always good to see you.
You too.
Yeah, uh, been great friends for a long time, and um, now we've kind of become business partners, I guess you might say.
Uh-oh.
That's true.
Yeah, due to the uh, pandemic and what it has caused all of us to make changes in our life.
Yeah,
Uh,
big change.
yeah, it kind of really joined us even further. And we've been working on some projects in the past together. And it's been a joy to not only know you guys, but to be a part of your life. So welcome tonight. Thank you for joining us here.
Oh, it's a
And this,
pleasure.
yeah, and this is really informal. We're not doing anything formal. Just wanted to get on here for multiple purposes. First of all, Yolanda and I, as most of you might know or may not know, but we are a dance loving couple of 30 years, and we're just like you. It's like anybody that's on here tonight. We're just normal people, regular people like you, and but we have a whole lot of experience with life. And as we move towards our actual launch of our regular weekly show in April, it's going to be all about sharing uh, some insights from our own experiences. Our show will be called Truly Life Lessons, and we're going to be sharing in many different areas as it relate to life. And so, hopefully, you guys will be joining in with us, and hopefully, the things that we will be sharing with you will be very helpful and beneficial. So, anyway, I'm going to let you guys kind of introduce yourself.
Well, go ahead,
How
huh?
you want to do it?
Eve before Adam. Go ahead.
Again, I'm Toni Sawyer. Well, Antionette's my actual name, but Toni is my nickname. And we are the pastors of Cornerstone Life Center, which is now virtual versus brick and mortar, as Oliver always says. We have transitioned from the brick and mortar to a virtual uh, church at this point. And I'm not even sure if it's a church, but it is a spiritual community that we have now because we've gathered followers from all over, not only in the United States, but outside the United States as well. And so it's been a real adventure for us, a real adventure. And this is my husband, Puddin. He will say his name is Puddin.
This is my daughter here. My daughter. She's been a daughter for quite some time. We just live together. Go ahead.
But we've been pastors for about 35 years, and
All together, the whole ministry.
the ministry in about 51 to
52 years.
Mhm.
It's been a while.
Yes, it has. Yes,
And we used to be, when we started out, in our 20s.
yes.
And she's much younger than I am.
About 9 months.
Yeah, much younger. And I don't know, when we started out, we were not working together like this.
No, we weren't.
I was a one-man pastor.
You were
and
one man show.
She sat out there in the audience trying to wear a big hat, but she had big hair, so it didn't work.
Yeah, I played the role of first lady, and eventually I did most of the administrative stuff. But eventually I got in the pulpit and I started teaching and all of this stuff, and finally got ordained. And it was years.
Who ordained you?
You did,
Oh.
and it was years and years later that that we became a tag team, and that was after we saw a well-known minister. At least he was well-known back during the time we were in our church, and his name was they were Brenda and Matt Timberlake. And they were the only tag team couple that we had ever seen.
Nobody else that we knew of was doing that.
Right. And we were just so in awe about that. And but we didn't start just because of it. It kind of just evolved.
So we tried.
It evolved.
You tried it. And she used to follow me all around the country.
I know. I had to wear my hard hat.
Yeah, well.
And he was very judgmental at that time. So I had to wear my hard hat. He'd go in churches and they would be really literally mad when he got ready to leave. So
but can you imagine we get married at 21, 22 and never had an idea that we were going to be into what we're into now.
Right.
I can look back now and see how this whole thing was a setup for all of us. It was a setup for me and her all the way back when we were 4 and 5 years of age, living in the same neighborhood and periodically running into each other.
Well, hello, Yolanda.
Hi, Toni. Hi, Pastor Sawyer. Hi, Co-Pastor. How are you?
Doing fine, Jane. Jane and Tarzan there. That's good.
Yes. Tarzan told Jane we weren't doing this.
And
then Tarzan said we are doing this. And then Tarzan said we're not doing this. And
yes, and Tarzan told Cheetah he might do it and wasn't sure. So
so we were all swinging from the trees, not knowing, huh?
That's it.
So you guys know I live on the edge. So you got to be ready at all times.
That's a very big thought of.
Do we have others listening to us tonight?
Can you see others chiming in on this one? I can't see it on my side.
Okay, don't see any chats, and I thought that we had that resolved from this afternoon. But if you're out there, please do chat, whether you're in Facebook or YouTube.
Yeah, join in with us.
Yeah. But you were saying?
We got together, so I remember so well. It's just like it's just a few minutes ago that it happened. I had no desire to be in church at all. I didn't want to be married. I didn't want to be in church. But I know you mentioned something there that was real good. You said you and your wife were dancing partners. Now that is what I like to hear more about you and her dancing career.
I know, that would be cool.
Did y'all really dance that much?
Oh my God, we've been dancing together for 30 years.
But we did not dance before we got married because we did not date before we got married. So, we've already had this conversation that, didn't know him. But I have always danced. I was a cheerleader in high school. And then when I was in college, my freshman year, I actually danced with this really big guy. And it was neat because he was so big, he could pick me up and throw me around and stuff. And
get out of here.
I was accustomed to that because of cheerleading. So, we talked and that kind of thing. So it didn't scare me. So we won a lot of little dance contests. And that was how I made a little extra money when I was a freshman.
Wow.
Yeah.
She was on tour.
No, I was not on tour. But
how did you get him involved in the dancing? How did that happen?
Who, Oliver?
Well, that goes back to my clubbing career.
Oh.
Now, let me ask you though, how did you guys move from there to through the church circles back out into the dance circles, because I know when we went to church originally in the holiness churches, that was not
Dancing was
allowed.
not allowed.
And
No, of course it's not. Of course it's not.
But see, I came up through the Presbyterian church, and we danced in the church.
But what I'm interested in is the kind of dancing that y'all were doing.
Well, actually, we actually took some classes.
We took
some
ballroom dancing classes.
Yes.
Okay.
we considered that.
And what is so funny is, so I like to dance. It's not that I'm so good at it or anything. I just enjoy dancing.
Mm-hmm.
So we've always, just danced. And the kids, you dance in front of your children and they're like, oh, do it again, mommy and daddy. So we were always just doing stuff. But I used to watch the ballroom dancing on television all the time. And it's just so graceful, so pretty. And I kept saying, we should do this. We should do this. So it was Oliver's birthday one year. And he said, I've got a surprise for you. And I thought, okay. And so we go to this place, and we were here in our local town. And I was shocked because for his birthday, he set up for us to have ballroom dancing classes.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is so great and wonderful. So the teachers of the class were senior citizens. They're relatively old.
Mm-hmm.
The male instructor, he loved dancing with me. He was like, oh my gosh. And so he would twirl me around. It was just lots of fun. So I'm thinking, this is great. We're going to be doing ballroom dancing. Oliver would not practice. So we dance now. We know how to do the dances, but he always makes it up. So people are like, oh, you're having such a good time while you're out there. I'm laughing because I have no idea what he's doing.
That sounds like him.
And they say, just follow. I'm like, how can I follow when you don't even know where you're going? So I'm always laughing because I'm like, so he makes it up. He makes it up.
Those creative juices be flowing.
Yeah.
And we actually started going to, there's this, there are 3 lawyers in our area that has this huge annual Christmas celebration.
You still going now?
Yes.
Well, we did in 2020 because of COVID, but we've been doing this for
10 years at least.
we've been doing this for quite some time. And
I think I remember in 2019 you guys had to go. We're going there.
So we go there, and before our children were over 21, they didn't go. So they called it our prom. They're like, "Ooh, mom and dad are getting ready to go to the prom." Because you get all dressed up, we go, and it's a great event. They have charities that they're always giving to them. So that's what, in order for us to get in, we take gifts. We take, they do the Toys for Tots, and so unwrapped toys, gifts. And then they've been working with like an urban ministry,
the Durham
and
Rescue Mission.
And so then we were doing stuff for shelters, so you get,
Yeah.
But now, when was the last dance you went to?
You're interviewing them. They're supposed to be interviewing.
Actually, it was 2019. 2019.
Yeah.
Only reason we didn't go in 2020, you know why?
Well, we did go. We went the first part of 2020 because remember in February we had the CIAA, and that was the last time. It was February. And then right after that in 2020 was when everything was kind of shut down.
Yeah.
Have you noticed? Have you ever noticed this new type of dancing that's going on now? They like the African dancing and all that.
I sent it to we have a family group chat that we do, and I sent this, and I was like, I would like for us to learn how to do this dance.
I love it.
I do too.
We have to get it and do it, and then get the Ben Gay out for later. And
that's okay. That's okay.
Wow.
I can do most of those dances sitting in a chair.
We want you to do it on your 2 feet, standing on your 2 feet, though.
What I end up doing is kind of like tap dancing, old tap dancing stuff.
Yeah.
But I like to keep up with the beat.
I think he's got a little country in it.
Yeah. Well, you guys have been married for 52 years, I believe.
51. But we're going into the 52nd
year, and it's quite obvious for you guys. And then plus you've been in ministry for just as long, and so obviously you guys know something. You guys got some secret sauce.
There you go. There you go.
There must be some secret sauce about. Yeah. So share that with us.
Well, if we got any, they're long forgotten. But
we started out. I started preaching a year before we got married.
That's right. We had been
So-
married. Yeah, you started preaching, and his first sermon was brotherly love.
Yeah.
That was his first sermon.
And we started off in an apostolic church ministry
Apostolic Holiness Church.
because her grandparents, well, she'd been in church and with her family
my
for
life,
all her life, but never in church with me.
You were basically unchurched.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I saw her. I saw her when she was a little girl living in the neighborhood. I remembered when she said something about a goat that I used to have that used to chase her when she went through the neighborhood store. I remember seeing her at least twice, maybe 3 times, but I never, brothers.
I think he cut your mic off there.
I think I did, didn't I? Because I was hearing an echo feedback. I thought I was trying something.
Can you hear us now?
Go ahead.
Yes.
I can now. Yes.
It puts me into tears because I can look back over the steps that we went through growing up, and I can see how God has revealed to me.
I'm gonna turn this down. I think it's the mic. Maybe too loud.
God has revealed to me and the actual prenuptial events that was bringing me up to what we're doing now. I can trace the actual steps from a table, a neighborhood, an expressway being built, people that I've run into, people that I didn't know, and how cars and brake shoes and motors got me in touch with people that I had no idea that the guy that I was running around with was going to introduce me to her.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying life led you,
Life,
or directed and orchestrated your path.
I can see God's steps
Mm-hmm.
stepping in my
Mhm.
feet and in hers.
Mm-hmm.
I know that when I met her that she was a swing dancer. Yeah, I could see it. But I couldn't swing dance much because see, when I started off dancing at 4 and 5 years old at the old Chitlin, what they call it?
You'll make this a long story.
No,
aren't you?
I'm just telling you the details. I used to go to a club out in the country, and the people that owned the club was my cousin. They was connected to my family. And you take a little 4 or 5 year old boy out there doing the bacon fat, the tingling, and the Watusi, and the slop, and all that kind of dance.
And the chicken.
And the chicken. And,
You have to show us the bacon fat. I don't think I've ever seen or heard that before.
oh, shucks, yeah.
Bacon fat and slop are pretty similar.
Oh my God.
And that was when the Soul Train was just getting on his feet, And I was thinking I was good enough that one day I was going to dance my way on the Soul Train. But I didn't know they were choreographed dancers.
So they were choreographed.
Yeah, they were choreographed dancers. I thought they were just coming up with that stuff. But whoever owned that show, Don Cornelius, he was, they had to train for that.
Right.
My training was out in the street, and my brother, being older than I am, I tried to run around with him because he was an excellent swing dancer. He could do all the dances. And I remember the stores, the people, the events, the fights they got into, the neighborhood, the rain, the snow, the streets that were torn up, the street that were paving, the heavy machinery that made the streets, the wrecks that happened on the street, the neighborhood, the names, everything. I can look back and see how 1, 2, 3, it was lined up, set up for you. Well, I say you and I, but excuse me, for me to be this. I went to church, a country church, and there was an old lady that was preaching in a black baptismal robe. Her name was Lindsay Glenn. I used to lean over the side of the pews and look at her. But see, when you went to church then, you went out to the church and they stood out in front of the church and waited for whoever it is that had a big 3 or 4 half a gallons of moonshine down in the woods
Oh.
And see, my uncle was one of the biggest
They called
moonshiners.
it big meeting.
Big meeting, yeah.
Mhm.
My uncle had one of the biggest moonshine houses in Winston-Salem. And they would go down there. And I've seen my aunt take me down in the woods, and I've seen the ladies pull their dress up and pass water in the woods and get drunk and come back into church and be sitting in the church and the people be preaching. So I went to church when I was little, but I never thought that this lady that I saw was going to spearhead me to preaching in the same church as I got grown. She crossed over, and I saw her and stood in the same footsteps that woman stood in preaching. All the churches that I went through in the country, I ended up going back to them by destiny and purpose and preach. I didn't talk and preach like I do now, but it was always the judgmental type of preaching. You're going to go to hell if you don't live for Jesus.
Hellfire.
Hellfire and brimstone.
Hellfire, yes.
But I had no idea. We had no idea that we were going to come together. I did not intend to get married. I was going to work in the factory, shack up with her and she with me, and hope that she didn't never talk about marriage, because the guy that I run around with said no marriage. And when I got married, the rest of them did.
What's your secret? He said we had some
Well,
secrets.
I'm telling you the secret of this is because I want you guys to know that there's not a place before meeting Jesus. I put it like this. I found out that there is no such thing as meeting Jesus one time in life.
Mm-hmm.
I found out the mystical side of God in everybody's life, and I am convinced so completely. I'll stake my life on it. There's not a person in the earth that don't know Jesus Christ. I don't care what kind of book they got. I don't care what they read. I don't care where they've been. They be atheists. They can be born with no head on, carrying it in a duffel bag. They have met this being called Christ, the Lord. And everybody, even the ones in the illusionary hell, or they real hell, they want to call it, they can tell hell to go to hell. Yeah, they can, because they have met this Christ being.
Well, just this week we were talking about how that Christ is the self of every person, but they don't know it, and how that same Christ essence has been passing down from generation to generation in every being, and how that when we wake up to that we are as that essence, a whole new world and whole new outlook begins to take place, where you begin to see through the illusion. You begin to see through events and things that we consider, that we would label as bad or threatening. We begin to see through those things and see that they are now people playing the roles of what do we say? We saw this today, where God had actually created the wicked,
Yeah,
for a purpose.
mm-hmm.
And so it's like every person is playing the role that we need in order for anything that has to happen in this world to get done.
To happen. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And us talking now, I'm always reminded when we on air like this on a program, I can hear intuitively strong awareness.
Mm-hmm.
I can hear this conversation in earth and in heaven, in the spirit domain,
Mm-hmm.
at the same time we're talking.
Mm-hmm.
When I had surgery one time, a carpal tunnel surgery, I could see the doctors and the surgeon, all of them, the nurses, in the same room under anesthesia. I could bypass all the anesthesia and look beyond the veil and see doubles of everything that was going on in the room. And when they finished over there, they finished over here. Parallel universe. I you know, Brother Oliver, you've asked me how do I see Christ in everybody. It had been always like that because I didn't one time I couldn't see him, but just in people who confess him as Lord and Savior.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But something happened when I got over to the real heavy insight into oneness with God. And it has spearheaded us into an area of seeing Christ. And I'm going to tell you something. It's very annoying to see him when you don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to think about that for a moment. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. There are
Yeah.
times we see him in vessels that we don't want to see him in.
Yeah. But since we're on this universal international platform, which we are tonight,
Yeah.
so you got people from all walks of life, all
Yeah.
spiritual paths,
Yeah.
and I know we probably already used some terminology that automatically people throw up
Red flag.
using Christian terms, and so can you share with us the universality of what you were saying without the words, that everyone can hear openly that same message of oneness that you were talking about?
So before you answer that question, so I too grew up, well, we both grew up in churches, very different church experiences, but there were always questions that, I had lots of questions, and I kept saying, how is it that everyone can know God? Because at that time they were saying, you couldn't know him unless, you had a preacher, and a preacher would preach the word. And, we kept saying, but if everyone is going to be held accountable for that, then how is that going to work out? How is it? Because it just seemed very unfair that people who, of course, we thought that people were just around here. I'm a little girl. But so we were always asking those questions. Well, how is it that you're going to know that is what he is and who he is, and how is how is all of that going to happen? So so church caused me to have a whole lot of questions. And you said something about the oneness, and that was another one of the answers that came out of all of those questions about how was all of that going to happen. So so they were talking about that oneness where we all hear the same thing, and we're all one. So we would all know. So that was, so church for me created a lot of questions, a lot.
Yeah, me too as well. And I shared earlier with Oliver that just recently, last couple of days, I really felt impressed to go back and look at videos with the non-dual teachers. I think it was Guji and Rupert. Both listened to both of them as they conversed with Course in Miracles teachers. And what I got out of it, there was a whole lot that I got out of it, but what I eventually ended with that really, really stayed with me was to speak from oneness, speak from the one. And if I speak from the one, that means I would have to relearn how to communicate, because we are so set with dualistic language.
Yes.
Separation language, I can say it like that. That when we begin to talk to somebody else, even when we talk about church and we talk about our own religious experience, it's dualistic in nature. Even though we're saying that Jesus Christ is in every person, it's still a dualistic language. But we found that a lot of people still need to hear the dualistic language simply because they're not yet seeing life through a single eye, through singleness.
Right.
And so we kind of put the two together in our in our conversations, and when in our messages. We make concessions for that person who is stuck in dualism. And we also talk to those who have that oneness understanding. But speaking from the one does not give anyone an object to worship.
Right.
It does not give anyone a relationship with an object to worship.
Yes.
And so God begins to become, what I say, invisible, in the sense that he's hidden by our own personalities.
Mm-hmm. So now the big question is, how did I get to this place? I found out in years gone by in the mind time zone, I was going to run across this mystical side of God, and I didn't have any idea there was such a thing as that. But what sparked me more than anything was Jesus appearing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, make it. I'm not a left-brained per se being.
That's true.
I understand that I had to become as a child in toys, playing, and funning like children imagination. I wanted to see Jesus, and for real. I thought I wanted to be like the bodybuilders that I trained around and worked out with. But after I found him, I dropped all that stuff for a while. But here's what I wanted to find out. Does this being called Jesus Christ actually live? Is he real?
Mhm.
What really shocked me was that I found out just now, some people come to oneness through the Bible, some people come through the Course in Miracles. And some people in the Course in Miracles, after they find out this oneness, or removing of duality and all of that, some of them end up hating Christianity. And they say Christianity is false. And then some people in the Christianity say that you get in anything else outside of the Bible, that's occultic. It's false. Somehow or another, in my intuitive identity, there was a great merger that took place
Mm-hmm.
in my awareness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I became aware of judgments in all those areas, but somehow or another, I want you to hear this. This is the way it happened. Somehow or another, I was able to see what happens to water when it goes down into your throat and you drink it. It assimilates itself all through your blood vessels, your cells, and everything in your body. But what happened to me was that Christianity and religion stuff that I picked up from beginning, not having anybody to tell me anything else but churchology, biblical, skibblical. Somehow or another, what I found out about Jesus digested itself into me. And when it did, it assimilated inside of me him. I thought God was in me, and I was finding out how to be in him through the baptism of the Holy Spirit, speaking in tongues, and the gifts of the Spirit, anointings coming and going. Somehow or another, something inside of me was eating that stuff up and digesting it. And the indigestion that I got was because there was a conflict of interest in identity. I got sick in my emotions. And out of that, I saw a man's heart. And his man's heart that I saw was his.
And yours.
And mine at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And he transformed that digestive system into his digestive system. And I found out that everything that took place and is taking place in my life and everybody else's life is him digesting them for himself. There is no us independently from God. It has never been, and I thought it was, which is a big lie. And it's hurtful, it's painful. And I had a chance to see the pain that this Christ being. And I found out he's not mad at anybody.
Mhm.
He can't. He can't judge, kill, destroy, but yet in all of that, it still exists. And I can't figure out how it exists, until I look at him. If you're gonna make Jesus Lord or be God, you got to throw the whole bucket in there. You can't just throw denominationalism in there and say that's God. You can't throw Catholicism in there and say that's not God. You can't decide on what you're gonna pick out and what is God, what is not. I lost it, man. Girl, I lost it. And when I lost it, I couldn't see nobody else but him.
Yeah.
I don't like the way he look when I look at people, because they don't look nothing like him. He keeps showing me in that picture. Yes, he does. He let me try his shoes on. They call it the footsteps of the righteous. I go beyond footsteps. I go into the shoes that the man wore on my feet. I go beyond just robes of righteousness into the actual clothes. Brother, I saw union with Christ on the cross. And I saw Mary and his mother standing at the foot of the cross, and everybody in the universe standing at the foot of the cross. Then it changed. It changed from the foot to the back. I walked around the back and I saw everybody up on the cross, and I saw the stripes on his back, on my back, and if I was his backside and he was my front side.
You know, and it's important that we say this, because your original question was, can we say without church language? We can, but I need to say this, that we woke up while studying the sacred text called the Bible.
Yeah.
Hello.
We woke up through that sacred
That's right.
text. We woke up from Christianity as an organized religion. So now our allegiance is not to Christianity. Our allegiance is not to a sacred text. Our allegiance is to Christ alone. So there is no reason why a person would have to leave a church. It doesn't conflict with their faith. It never took any of our faith away in order to come into oneness and awakening. But if a person chooses to, that's fine. But you can wake up in any organized religion.
Yeah.
But you will see through it. You will see through that religion and find that there is a lot of things said and done that is not truth. And so he's always said this: eat the hay and leave the sticks. And that's what people have to do. If they stay within the confines of the religious church, they will have to eat the hay and leave the sticks if they're awake. Our spiritual son, he has a church down in amongst Corner, South Carolina. He's pastoring and he's within the confines of the Christian religion, and he can't give them everything that we're saying. He doesn't even fully understand everything we're saying himself, but he embraces it.
Right.
But he realizes he has to remain in front of them as though he's asleep in order to reach them and give them only pieces of the truth that awakens a person, in the hopes of giving them what Yolanda often said, what brought her to awakening was logic. Looking at it in her reasoning, she said, this doesn't make sense. So when they begin to say, this doesn't make sense, what they're seeing, that's the beginning of the awakening.
Yes.
And it most can happen
with you now.
Excuse me?
I feel the presence of revelatory insight. I saw myself on the other side in a Presbyterian religious circle with one of the guys that I run around with. I saw the heart of Jesus in me. I took it out of me and put it inside of him. And when I saw him in the flesh here at his house, I told him what I saw of him and what his mother, deceased mother, told me to tell him about him staying out of trouble when she crossed over. I saw myself put the heart of Jesus inside of him. And I touched him. Now, this guy is a gangster.
Or he was.
He was. He is a gangster. And I run into him. He wasn't always like that, but he grew up when I was around him to be that, and I had to run with him. Here's my point. What got me into this was me. What got me into this was you. What got me into this was everybody that I've met in church, bars, clubs, everywhere. What got me into this, Brother Oliver, is the Christ that I'm speaking to. If I want to talk to Jesus, I talk to you. If I want to talk to me, I'll talk to Jesus. If I want to talk to me again and I decide I want to talk to him in you, I'll talk to him. I've had the experience of talking to God directly, prophetically speaking from a mouth of a person just like you, and never said it was prophesied, didn't say, yea, thus saith the Lord revealed to me. I can hear the voice of God coming out of our everyday conversation. If it's about motors, airplanes, dogs, cats, turkeys, chicken, Colonel Sanders, Bojangles, spare ribs, neck bones, you say it.
Popeye.
You're God in that meat.
You know, I was thinking about what you guys are getting ready to launch, and this is going to be is this going to be a weekly telecast that you're going to be doing online, or how are you guys planning to do that?
It'll be a 1 week broadcast.
No, I
And
can't.
whether once a week broadcast, and
What happened?
I don't know.
Can you not hear us?
My speaker off. I'm sorry.
are you there?
My speaker off. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, just a one weekly broadcast.
Okay. I really, and what I felt was, now the reason I turned my speaker off is I keep getting a feedback whenever we talk. I keep hearing that. Are you hearing that on your side? I hope not. But
No, we're not hearing it on our side.
okay. So what I would like to do, if you don't mind, is we're going to stretch our hand toward you guys right now. Stretch your hand that way. There you go. We're going to launch you into that with a blessing.
The blessings of the heart, the Sacred Heart of Christ.
Yes, the blessing be upon the two of you to go forth and succeed and be very effective in that you choose to do and that you desire. We launch that with you, and we pray with you that whole thing just expand beyond your wildest dreams.
And I see you, Yolanda, I see you with your daddy, your father. At the moment of crisis, I see you somewhere doing this. Put your hand on his heart and say, Daddy, I impart the Sacred Heart of Jesus Christ into your heart. I now give you a heart transplant of the actual tangible substance of the heart of Christ, and visualize it going into him. He deserves that gift. He needs that gift in awareness. Now, what happens to it is awareness. You become so aware. Brother and sister, when this thing hit me and I saw him open my chest up, that fire of God, the holy fire, was the same fire with Israel. The same fire was in Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in that furnace. The same fire.
It was Christ following.
It was the falling of him. That heart, that flaming fire, red, yellow, orange, gold, and blue fire, burned away everything that was not him and revealed all things as him. So I want to thank you for coming to earth, choosing to wear the suit and remain as the same juice in every suit that you've ever been in. I sanctify the presence of God around you. I release the angelic forces around you to show you more in the revelatory insight of the unchangeable self that you are in your infinite identity that stands tall and immaculate in every step that you take, both of you. I bless you with these sayings and these words, and I sanctify these words into your being, that from the day that we met each other till now, that you will walk in the form and the presence and the substance of Jesus Christ, from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet, and Yolanda, from the top of your head to the tip of your pantyhose.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I haven't worn pantyhose in a long time, but I understand what you're saying, Pastor.
And you know what? This is without understanding, but it was, and the book said, and he healed them
Yes.
with compassion.
Yes.
The definition of compassion is the ability to stand in the place of another person as though you are them going through it. Compassion, to be infinite, with them, to empathic to the degree that you experience in them. And I taught this in my classes. That if you're going to minister to people in the fullness of God awareness, you must be them. So it makes it easy when you know you're already them
Yes.
in the form of Christ.
Yes.
Well,
So I hope
we,
we did something to spark, to ignite the heart of Christ in people all around us listening to us.
well, we receive all of that, brother and sister. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But
I'd like to finish this.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Not now, but on the next show.
Yeah.
At another time.
You know
Yeah.
what? Let me say this. I've experienced Jesus, tears dropping out of my eyes. I've experienced him eating and tasting the food that go in this body.
Mm.
I felt it. I've seen it. And I'm not telling you out the side of my neck. I'm telling you what's real. And I want you guys that are listening now, I want you to experience Christ. And I don't care how you experience him. I want you to experience him in the actual live panoramic technicolor cinemascope
As yourself.
as your real self. There's nothing like you. There's nothing like you
Yes.
in that Christ
not
form.
as an other, but as yourself.
You are beyond words to describe your elegance.
Well, if you're out there tonight listening, whether on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube, and you've never met a mystic or mystic before, you have met two mystics tonight. This is what a mystic. This is the way a mystic talk. This is the way they laugh. This is the way they have fun. This is the way they share. This is the way they give. And we're just so blessed to have them in our life and to be close friends. And we certainly are just grateful for all that you guys have imparted into us and what you continue to do around the world with your messages of oneness that you share across these virtual airways. So we're just so grateful to be a part and on this path with you guys.
Thank you.
What I give you is what you are. But I give you the insight and the awakening moment of the experience that we call it in this dimension, aha moments.
And I think we've probably been together in previous lifetimes.
Oh, we have.
And no doubt we have, and played roles for one another and helped each other apparently, and we're still doing that. And we made a covenant, obviously made a covenant that we would do whatever we could to help other people wake up.
Yes.
And that is definitely our heartbeat, is to help people to live into their fullness, to live their true, authentic. You know, life is too short for people to be unhappy all the time.
That's the truth.
And when we know that, you know, the amount of unhappiness that people live in is a result of them choosing to stay where they are,
Yes.
Which most people do because of fear.
Yes.
And they don't understand that just one step over is, you know, one step beyond what
Just
they
beyond it.
know
Yes.
is the beginning of all that they've ever desired.
Yes.
Yes.
So, and it doesn't have to be that way. You know, one of the issues that we see is that, you know, people are either expressing love or calling out for love. And when we cry out for love, we can be very unskilled, and it can be very painful to the, you know, to the people around us, but to us, you know, the person that's doing it themselves. So there's a better way.
Yes.
I want you guys to experience that when Christ in your form walks in the room disappears. That's the key right there. The stronger your awareness, I was in the barber shop today in Greensboro, and I was sharing with a lady and a guy in there, just the four of us in there, about marriage and what it takes to make a good one or a bad one. What it takes to make a good one is a good one. What it takes to make a bad one is a bad one. That's the end of that. But she cried. She broke when I told her that there is such a thing as a good one. She broke. She cried. I didn't go there. We both were crying. Let me tell you, man, sister, let me tell you, the power that you're working with in these events that we're having now is beyond the word POWER. It's no such thing. It's not a forceful thing, but it is the most awesome, respected awareness that actually work miracles 24/7. The miracle now is taking place in both of you now. You're not sitting there thinking about your heart beating, nor you're thinking about the hair growing on your hand and your head. But it is. Who's doing that? You. But you're doing it in your universal self. You are scattered all over the world, and you're doing miracles now that mind cannot handle. But I want your mind to come into arrest. I want to put that thing under arrest and let it see that it is nowhere close to being what your heart is. The heart of you is so absolute God, it makes hell turn over in its grave. I'm telling you this. I got to stop. It's human. It's just too much. It's too much to try to explain, and it gets frustrated when you can't explain what you know. You know, it's just real. And you don't want to. I'm gonna be honest with you. Once you get into this stuff, it'll keep you up at night.
Is that what keeps you up at night?
Yeah, it keeps you stirred all the time.
It puts me to sleep.
It knock her out, but I'm up because I know that any second, everywhere I turn, I'm going to see him. I told somebody today, I said, you will never die. Now you're talking about your suit. You're going to change that.
Yes.
When you get through with this suit, you're going to leave it. And it will not die on you too early. I got next door neighbor's husband passed last week.
Yeah.
I saw him come up into her house over there and tell me, he said, tell my wife that my toes are straightened out. I say, Miss Pat, do you know anything about this? She said, yeah, I had to rub his feet all the time because his toes were drawn up. I said, your husband is telling me that y'all met when y'all were in your 20s. And I said, he looks like he's 20 years old. And I said, he's opening his mouth and let me see his teeth. She said his teeth was rotten as Rotterdam. And she said, it is, her daughter was sitting there and the rest of them was in the house. I told her about her husband's feet. She said she had to massage his toes to get him to straighten out. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about.
So he got a toe job and a great dental job. First thing.
Thank God we won't need pedicures when we come out of these bodies.
Yeah.
Giving me, he said, these signs shall follow them that believe. These signs shall follow them that wake up.
Yeah.
It ain't no more believing because belief done switched over to facts and reality. So I don't have to use faith or belief anymore because I've been established. Like Paul said, have I not seen the Lord Jesus? Have I not seen him in person? Am I not an apostle? As an apostle, he said, I'm no longer a possum.
See, if you say, he says he's not ready to do it now, but now he's doing it.
Yeah.
Preaching.
Oh. If I wanted to, I could carry those titles, but I gave them up because I know I don't have to have them now to be the real thing.
Right.
Praise God. Thank you
Praise
very
God.
much. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Churchified tonight.
Yeah, well,
We're gonna quit. We're gonna quit.
you know, the sun has to shine. Water has to be wet. The
Yeah.
roads have to smell like the rose.
Fire
So
has to be hot.
Fire has to be hot. So you cannot not be who you are. So we
Hello,
totally
baby
understand.
girl. Thank you for
Hey, that's
joining us.
baby girl.
I saw you a little earlier.
Yeah.
Baby girl went to the barbershop. She had a tour of the barbershop today.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah. She wanted to be a part of the broadcast. Hey, baby girl.
Baby girl, see him talking to you now?
No,
See him
if you
talking to
point,
baby
she'll
girl?
look wherever
See,
you
baby,
don't.
look.
She'll look
Look.
everywhere but where you point.
Everywhere except.
Yeah.
The dog.
where
See the
you point.
puppy? See the puppy? Look,
Yeah,
look there.
see, you're gonna get her
Look.
excited.
She's ready to get over there to you too.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
Okay.
Thank you for allowing us
Thank you, Oliver and Yolanda.
to come on with you guys.
Yeah, thank you guys.
No,
for joining
thank you guys. This has been refreshing for us and hopefully for everyone that has popped in and taken a seat and grabbed the popcorn and grabbed the beverage, of course.
Is there any way we can tell whether they came in or not?
Well, right now we're still working on this chat feature and this new
Used to his new
reframe software, so it's still. I thought I had it fixed, but it's not. But that's why we're kind of doing these little impromptus before we actually launch.
Is this making a recording for us or just one
Yes,
time?
there is a recording. There is a recording, and but we'll have to actually go to Facebook Live to look at the chats and see.
Oh, that'd be great.
Mhm.
What would you name this? What would you call this?
They're going to be calling it Truly Life Lessons.
Truly life lessons.
Yes.
'Cause we're going to be actually sharing in a multitude of areas. Of course, being coaches and being spiritual practitioners. I mean, we'll get into relationships and talking about time and money freedom and health and wellness. You know, we've been health advocates ever since we've been married.
Yeah.
And my wife held a certification for certified health professional for years. She
That'll be great.
Yeah, she used to teach in. Of course, she was a science major.
Oh, really?
Yes, so she knows all about that anatomy and physiology. So she used to teach these health classes. So we'll get into some of that, as well as service, spiritual awareness.
Yeah, that'll be great.
You know what? You know what's so great about this, Brother Oliver and Yolanda? You'll never have to ask God to be with you again.
Oh, haven't had to do that for years because I know.
And you might hear your mind say, "Help me, Lord Jesus, baby Jesus, and your cousin, uncle, nieces, boys." But in actuality, you don't have to ask for help anymore.
I think what we will probably spend the most of our time on is helping people to understand who they truly are.
And enter into rest.
And so that they can live into their authentic self, which is where peace is. Which is where peace is. So we'll spend a lot of time. Oliver for years talked about the fatherhood of God and the brotherhood of man. He talked about that for years. But throughout all that we've done, we've always talked about the oneness. Our unity, not just, well, we used to say the unity with Christ or the source of all things, and now we know that it's not with, it is as. As that, and wow, that gives me a lot of peace of mind, just knowing that all that is available in the universe is available in me.
Yes.
And more important is it's available in everyone. That's what makes it even better.
Yeah.
So
yes, that's true. Yeah. That's so true.
I'm so glad the Lord let us meet each other in these suits.
Yes.
I'm so glad the Lord let us meet him and communicate with him on this technological equipment.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You don't remember the primitive days when we were walking this path, do you?
Well, they used
to be cooking on rocks.
Yeah, you used to stand on the mountain and yell the message across the peaks of the mountain.
Yes. Yep. I remember you sitting in a boat one day and you pushed off
Mhm.
the shore there, and you were speaking to 5,000. I remember that.
Yep,
I was there.
that's right.
You remember
He's
me
talking
doing
first
that?
I remember you doing that.
Yeah.
And then when you finished, the guy that you borrowed the boat from, you told him to go get his nets and go get his partners,
Mhm.
get in the boat, and let's launch out to the deep for a catch.
You know, that made me think about something. If we go,
I remember.
the deeper we go, the more prosperity we should experience.
Absolutely.
Look at you.
And
The
that's
more
prosperity.
abundance,
Yeah,
yes.
in
The
every
more-
area of my life. Every
Yeah.
area.
The deeper we go, the more abundance we should experience.
Yeah.
You are the first one that I've heard deliberately switch over to first person
To
talking.
want to talk from the one as the one.
As the one.
Yes.
You just did it. Now I don't know whether that's boldness or just plumb craziness,
A little bit of both.
but you just did that.
Yes.
And I say,
Talk from the
who-
one as
who-
the one.
Who showed him how to do that?
Mm.
It's the ones we've been playing with.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
great. That's great.
I've never heard anybody in church talk like that.
He's not in church.
Well, let's say it like this.
You never heard anybody in life?
No. I never heard it. No. Are you crazy, man?
Not heard anybody but himself do it deliberately.
You deliberately did that. Oh, you stink tonight. You got a bad smell, boy. I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Bad meaning good.
You stink terrible.
You got
Yeah.
uh,
The Christ in me honors the Christ in you.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Namaste.
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 Well, look, we're gonna get out of here. It's been a blast. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and thank you on Facebook Live, Twitter, and YouTube. Thank you for joining us. And as we move forward, we will be putting out some specific marketing pieces so you'll know when we'll be launching and how to get up with us. And if you're interested in hear more about hanging or want to hang out more with these two, you can find them on Facebook at Cornerstone
And you too.
Life Center.
Life Center. Cornerstone Life Center is their Facebook page. You can find them on YouTube.
Tell them your YouTube page.
The Cornerstone Life Center.
The Cornerstone Life Center. And I'm telling you, these guys are rich and full of wisdom, and you would want to hang out with them, believe me.
Oh, he gives us so much clap.
I don't even know how to deal with it. I don't know how to.
He really builds us up.
I don't know how to put that in a sandwich.
That's love. I know that's love.
I don't even know how to put that in a glass and drink it.
So, pastors, I have been resisting being on Facebook for years. For years. And
Really?
here, I just thought about. I've been resisting being on Facebook, and here he's got me on Facebook Live.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Still not on.
She's still not on social media.
It's for a great cause.
Yeah.
It is for a great cause.
Everybody really needs to hear what you've got inside of you.
They
That's
do.
good.
Yeah. But she's always on there because if wherever I am, there she be also.
That's true.
So anyway, but we're gonna close it out for tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
And we just wish you guys the very best. And
Maybe next time we can talk about the signs and the symptoms in the physical body of waking up to your Christ self.
absolutely. Oh, we love to hear your message.
Interesting.
Yeah, we love to hear your messages on oneness and awareness and consciousness. So that's kind of your ace in the hole. And we definitely want to get you back on here to share some of that.
You
Okay.
let us know when
Thank
you're
you.
ready.
Yep, absolutely. Well, look, you guys have a great weekend. Thank you.
you.
Thank you, audience, for watching.
You are safe too.
Yes, we send you all the love in our hearts, and be blessed.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye bye.
Guys.
Yes.